Your weather guy here, back with another update. Going to talk about the tropics as well as the overall weather pattern. We do have something to watch going forward here later in the week, but I wouldn't hit the panic button yet. First, if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button. The channel is growing. I really appreciate that, everyone that's hit that subscribe button. If you haven't yet, please do so. Continue to help this channel to grow, get those future notifications. But right now, the National Hurricane Center is giving a 40% chance of cyclone development in the Gulf of Mexico or the northwestern Caribbean. And this would be later in the week, over the weekend. Not seeing the same signals that we saw with Helene. So that's a good sign. So even before Helene developed, we saw very, very strong signals. As a matter of fact, I did a video even before it developed saying that I thought it was probably going to be the storm of the year, and unfortunately that's what it turned out to be. I mean, let's hope that was the storm of the year. Wish I was wrong about that, but it caused just complete devastation. I'm sure I don't have to tell you that, but really truly heartbreaking scenes coming out of there. But the good news is I'm not seeing the same signals with this potential system. Doesn't mean it can't develop into something where things could change, but right now I'm seeing some things that are kind of pointing against that. So let's go over the GFS here. So this is the GFS, and I put this at Friday, and you can see here the isobars, very weak low pressure system there in the southwestern Gulf of Mexico. And as we put this forward, you can see it doesn't really do a whole lot with it. It remains weak, kind of meanders over the Gulf of Mexico, and then actually it sinks it south and really dissipates it. So the models really aren't really latching on to this thing, or really coming up with solutions that are making us panic like Helene did. However, we are still a ways away, and one of the tools I like to look at is the GFS ensembles. So the GFS ensembles is the GFS. They run it at a lower resolution 31 times, so you get 31 different outputs. So if we zoom in here, we see all these red numbers here, right? That's low pressure. Those are individual low pressure placements from those 31 runs. And if we see here, it's centered over the southwestern Gulf of Mexico. None of them are too strong at that point. This is Saturday. I'll put this forward into motion. So it's definitely seeing something, right? Look at all those low pressures. So most of the model runs, they're seeing something, but they kind of do the same thing as the GFS, really kind of just meanders it through the Gulf of Mexico. And most of these models don't really deepen it too much. And that's what I mean by those signals. With Helene, many of those members were dropping the pressures way down, some 930s, 940s, and that's why I was really raising those, or sounding the alarm bell there, but not really seeing that right now. Doesn't mean it can't change. And I'll put this forward in motion so you kind of see that. So some of the models develop it a little bit, but it's a small percentage at this point. So yes, still a chance that this thing could develop into something. I just wanted to bring some good news saying like this, we don't need to hit the panic button at this point. So let's hope the solution is kind of what the models are showing now, but yeah, still a long ways out. This thing could change, so don't ignore it. There's still an opportunity for this thing to develop, but that's kind of how I'm seeing it right now. All right, so let's pop over. We'll talk about the overall weather pattern. Pull up the 2-meter temperature anomaly. So we do have, looks like a cool shock coming. There's gonna be a cold front dropping out of Canada early next week. So like late weekend, early next week. In the eastern part of the United States, you can see a nice little cool shot, I think, for a good portion of next week. And then look behind that though, some reds and pinks above normal temperatures, so it's going to be relatively short-lived. So as we go in later into next week, so this is now Thursday, you see those reds and pinks start to spread out a little bit. Those blues kind of diminish. So the red numbers, the above normal temperatures, they're going to eat away as we kind of go through the week. So enjoy those cooler temperatures while we have them. It's going to be kind of short-lived, and then we'll kind of go back to an above normal temperature regime. But as we look at the overall weather pattern going forward, we do see some changes. So the weather pattern has actually changed quite a bit. Most of September, we saw this huge ridge over eastern North America, but that's been replaced now by a trough. And if I want you to focus on the western part of the United States, see those oranges, those brighter colors there. So that's ridging above normal heights. And as we go through the month, the GFS ensembles really want to start to build that, especially towards the later part of the month, really build that ridge in the western part of the United States. which is a really good sign if you like cooler weather in the eastern part of the United States, because what that ridge is going to do is displace that colder air, and it's going to allow that colder air to funnel down south. So I've been targeting November as being a much different month than October, and especially September. So it's interesting to see these models start to latch onto this now, latch onto this idea of a pattern change as we go through October, and that's what I've been targeting. So still feeling that, and this would be, I mean, that is a drastic change from what we've experienced. So especially the northern part of the United States, look, some ridging in the southern part of the United States, and that's what I'm expecting to see, is kind of that battleground there across the middle part of the United States, and that's where we could see a pretty active storm track setting up as we head later in the fall into the winter. So that could be really interesting for some wintry weather as we go further into the fall here. So that's how I see it now. I'm going to have more updates in the near future as far as the tropics goes, watching our system of concern, and then we're going to monitor this pattern change as well. So please hit that subscribe button, get those future notifications. That's it for now. See you next time.